Salutations, viewers, and welcome to my first Legends of Runeterra patch notes video. Today we're just going to be reading as to what is on here, just in case no one really wants to sit down and read through it. I will definitely be there to answer questions that you guys have, since this is a game I am going to be heavily involved with, and you will see videos of it on my channel. So here we have patch, I know I missed the first one, but I did make a video of patch 0.9.1, but then I ended up losing that data on my hard drive, and now I don't have it anymore. So patch 0.0 brings the second big batch of balance and card updates for open beta, including several full reworks. Check out the new Callista and Mage Seeker's roster. Nice! I'm actually excited for that, because Callista was a champion in this game that has not been really worked out enough to the point where she was viable, but now I've been seeing her in a lot more decks. Card updates. Champions. Hecarim, his health went from 6 to 5. Level up. You've attacked with 8+ ephemeral units. You've attacked now. Ooh, so it went down 1 for both his health and his level up. So, I mean, he is a really good champion. I do play a lot of Shadow Isle decks, and there's good reason for it, because they're incredibly strong. And they're hard to counter for the most part, except for if you have something similar, or maybe spider decks are hard too, because they have low health cards that they can just use in order to block any of the incoming damage that's happening. And for his level 2, we have his health from decreased 1, and his attack summon old text. His new text is summon 2 attacking spectral riders allies have +3/+0. Wow, okay, so now we got a slight buff for his +2, so now that's even more damage for his other allies. But it seems the Spectral Rider's power went from 3 to 2, and his onslaught went from 3 to the cost went from 3 to 2. That's really good. So, I mean, everything kind of went down a cost, but I think the new text for boosting it for a +3/+0 kind of makes up for it. But it's not a terrible change, but it definitely makes these a little bit more manageable, I would say. Callista level 1. Oh, her health went from 2 to 3, because before she was 4-2, and I wasn't exactly too keen on it. Let's see what the patch notes say about her, because she was a champ I didn't see so much about. Callista was the least played champion last patch, and considering Shadow Isles is the most played region, that's not a good sign. Callista wasn't meeting the exciting to build around bar we have for champs, so we redesigned her to much better fit into decks that are interested in killing or reviving their own units. She's also more appealing in ephemeral decks, given the synergy with her level 2 version. Lastly, her stat line makes her more reasonable as an option in fearsome aggro decks. That's really good, because like they said, I have never seen really that many Callistas until recently. So her health went from 2 to 3. Her old text was fearsome play bonds with an ally granted +2/+0 while we are bonded. Level up, I've seen 3+ allies die. Now her level up, 4 allies die. Okay. So her level 2, her health went from 3 to 4. Her old text was bond with an ally granted +2/+0 while we are bonded. Attack, revive the attacking ally and reforge our bonds. Level up, I've seen 4+ allies die. And her new text is fearsome. The first time I attack each round, receive an attacking ephemeral copy of the strongest dead allied follower. This round we're bonded, and it takes, wow, she's actually going to be really, really good, as they explained. She's going to be really good in fearsome aggro decks, because now she reviving an ephemeral copy of the strongest dead allied follower. So that means, I think that means anything throughout the entire game, which is pretty exciting, actually. So her Black Spear cost went up, which isn't too bad, but followers and spells, we got Border Lookout to Vanguard Lookout. So it looks like they just changed his name, so he's an elite now. I don't know if he was an elite before, but I think he was. Oh no, look, it's just been promoted to Vanguard. Every card home. Okay, that makes sense. Mage Seeker Insider. Mage Seekers are amongst some of the most interesting characters in Demacia that aren't, soldiers, keeping the all cards have a home principle in mind. We weren't satisfied with how the Messenger Mage Seekers ended up in beta, so we reworked them as a group. I think that's pretty cool that they've reworked the Mage Seekers as a group. I've seen the Mage Seeker Insider, but I haven't seen that much Mage Seeker Investigator, but I'd like to see what changes they made. So they changed the power from 1 to 4. Holy crap. health 4 to 3. That's really strong. Play, discard a spell to grant me power equal to its cost. That was the previous text, so it's new text. Grant me +2. Grant me 2/2 once you've casted a 6 cost spell this game. So then it has the... Is it supposed to be... Grant me 2/2. Oh, I see. Grant me 2/2 once you've cast a 6 cost... What? What? Oh, they have it on the card, but they don't have it here. They have a misspelling. Grant me +2/2 once you've cast a 6 cost spell this game. This card is a lot more viable, especially in spell decks. Old text from Mage Seeker. Play, if you cast a spell this round, remove all text and keywords from an enemy follower. Create a detained once... Wow, that's actually... I feel like that's really good. I mean, the old one wasn't that bad, to be honest. It's basically a silence. I still think it might have been fine previously. I mean, a detain is not that bad, especially if you can keep her healthy. Especially if you have 6+ mana cost cards. So I feel like her old one and her new one are both okay. I feel like there's a little bit more play with her in the newer one, especially if they just keep detaining on the same character and she never dies. Unless, like, or maybe not her or like him, you know. I feel like either the old one might have been a little bit better, but let's see how much more she's played, because I didn't see her played that much previously. Mage Seeker Persuader. So his cost from 6 to 2. What the? Power 4 to 3. His health 1 to 2. So now he's a 2 mana 3/2. His old text was Challenger. Play, discard a spell to grant me health equal to its cost. So his new text is grant me +1/+1 and Challenger once you've cast a 6 cost spell this game. Huh. So before he was already a Challenger. So now, if you cast a 6 cost spell, then he gets Challenger and +1/+1. So then he's a 2 mana 4/3 with Challenger. Only if you cast a 6 cost card, though. Spell card. Crowd favorite. His health went from 2 to 1. When I'm summoned, grant me +1/+1 for each other ally you have. Yes, I agree with the description that they have here. Crowd favorite has quietly been an overperformer for Noxus aggro decks. Overwhelm combined with large base stats, especially health, can be hard to interact with. And crowd favorite often matches the value of champions in specific aggro decks. That's really smart of them to reduce it, so it's a little bit easier to like go across this card. I do know that Noxus aggro decks have been a little bit better ever since the previous patch, but still they're not the best decks, but they do the job if you just want to go straight up smack. Iceborne Legacy hasn't seen much play, with the payoff clearly not providing. Yeah, I don't see Iceborne Legacy that much. I do run it in a few of my decks, but like it's okay at best. I don't even think wait, what did they do to it? Okay. And we're hoping the download effect of the higher investment offers more appealing prospect. So they changed the cost from 3 mana to 5 mana. The old text was burst, grants an ally and all allied copies of it everywhere +1/+1. And then new text, slow, grants an ally and all allied copies of it everywhere +2/+2. Honestly, I don't know if this is like a good change or anything. I think the previous one was fine, because if you had a few of those in your deck, like I did for a few of them, then I don't know if I like this change for Iceborne Legacy, but we'll see how the play goes. I don't know if a higher cost value for a slow spell that grants +2/+2 is that great compared to having a couple 3 mana ones and then just dishing those out. I don't know if I like that change. I don't think it's that good. Pack Mentality, old text was this was a card I saw sometimes, not all the time, but it was okay. The description was the old version of Pack Mentality was both a tad confusing and generally ineffective. Our goal with this change is to improve it as a finisher for go-wide tribal strategies while also making it more of an option for non-tribal decks. Huh. Okay, that makes sense. So their old text was give me an ally and other allies of its group +3/+3 and overwhelm this round. Now it's just +2/+2 and overwhelm. Yeah, I think the biggest issue with all of these the wording of the cards to me is what gets me the most, because when they word something, they always word it really weirdly, and I think everything else in this game has been really good except for how they describe something, but they have been getting better and better at it, so I do appreciate them actually attacking it from this angle. Ooh, Poro stacks. Wow, they reduced the cost. I think that's really good. But yeah, Poros is the worst currently performing expedition archetype by a large margin. Why? Because there's not a lot of good stuff you can... There's not a lot of good Poro decks out there. I've been trying new Poro decks just because I think they're freaking adorable. But yeah, they have been really underperforming. And this might help, but I don't think it's going to help that much unless you put a little bit... I think they need a little bit more Poros in there. Maybe higher ranking Poros or something. Like higher ranking, like higher health, higher stats in general. Oh, El Nukes. Yul Nukes. Yul Nukes. The Nukes. I actually love this deck. It's so funny, but it's such a what's it called? Risk to play this. So the old text was summon each Nuke. I don't know how to, I'm just gonna call them nukes in the top 10. So play for the top 6 cards in your deck, summon each nuke, and shuffle the rest into your deck. Wait. We consider redesign, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, I don't know if I like this change, but we'll see how it plays out. Maybe it is for the better, but, you know, with anything, you never know until you change it up and see what happens. I don't know if I like this change, but I mean, I do agree that most of the elusive decks are still incredibly strong. So Navori Conspirator, 3/2. I think this is fine. A 2-mana 2/2 that recalls an elusive. I think that's a fine change, but elusive decks in general are really tough. Chump Wump. I don't play a lot of Teemo decks, so I don't play this card often, but I do play against a lot of Teemo decks. So they changed his health from 4 to 3. That's a bit more manageable. Yeah, I think this is fine. Gives Mushroom is a little bit easier to kill him. Flash of Brilliance. I've seen this. I see this often in a lot of decks, but it's, you know, it's okay at best. So now before it was create a random spell in your hand, refill your spell mana, create a random spell that costs 6+ in your hand. Okay, I think that makes it a lot better. I feel like they probably should have changed it, since they're now doing it cost 6 mana, to maybe a 4-cost card instead of a 3-cost card. I think this is going to show up in a lot more decks now that it has. Now it's not just going to create any random spell, but it's going to create something that's 6 mana and more, which is really good for mid to late game. Especially if you have Lux on your team. My god. Rummage. So play, discard 2, draw 2. Oh yeah, this is a Jinx deck. So Rummage, let's read the description. Rummage couldn't be cast when you only had 2 cards in hand, which isn't a huge problem, except with a level 2 Jinx. It's a better small change, but one that should make Rummage feel better overall. So the new text is to play, discard 2, draw 2. If you have exactly 1 other card in hand, discard 1 to draw 1. I like that change. That's actually a really good change. I like that a lot. I should see more of that card in discard Jinx decks. So Unstable Volitician. When I'm summoned, grant me +4/+0 and quick attack if you cast a 6-cost spell this game. So his new text is grant me +4/+0 and quick attack once you cast a 6-cost spell this game. Oh, so they just took out the summoned. Oh, so it looks like they're lining him up with the Mage Seekers. So instead of when he's summoned, to get that +4/+0, he only gets that if you cost a 6-cost spell this game. So that could be done at any time of the game. I don't necessarily think he has to be on the board. But I think, honestly, yeah, it doesn't say when he's summoned. So it can be done at any time. I feel like we're going to see a lot more of this card. Brood Awakening went from 6 to 5. That makes it a little bit scarier. Just because it's 1 less cost. So you're gonna see that more early mid game. So for Mark of the Isles, this is a really good spell. I use this a lot in all of my ephemeral decks. So it went from grant an ally +3/+3. Now it went to +2/+2. I don't think that's bad, but This card was pulling a lot of weight for a 1-cost card, and it was really, really good. So I understand why they're nerfing it a little bit. I think that's a fine change. It's good to have. I think that's fine. It's definitely going to make these type of decks, ephemeral decks, a little bit weaker. Especially since I had that in a lot of my ephemeral decks. The Rekindler went from 6 to 7 cost. Thank God. This card is actually really good. So his text is, when I'm summoned, revive the strongest dead ally champion. So I mean, that I'm glad that they brought him up another notch, because he was a really strong card for a lot of ephemeral decks. Ephemeral decks were just the strongest and elusive. They're just really strong, and you just got to take them down a notch. That's good that they're upping the cost. So then they have Elise, Frenzy, Skitterer, Glimpse Beyond, and Shadow Assassin on the watch list. Oh, they added Mobilize. Nice. Removed back to back for expeditions. Added Guile or Gil. Elixir removed. Elixir of Wrath. Nice. These are really good changes. But if you guys want to read a little bit more about this in depth, I'll have the link down below so you guys are able to read it. But that is the patch notes for today. And I highly appreciate your time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more patch notes, as I will be doing a review from them now on. And look out for some videos for all of my decks that I have been building since day one, since I've been playing this game. Thank you guys so much for your time. You guys have a lovely day. Or should I say, you guys have a fabulous day. And I will catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.